Ever wonder why it's so easy to hit the snooze button instead of hitting the gym? Well, it's not because you're lazy or lack willpower. It's because you're human, and being human means wrestling with temptation. Temptation is that sly, seductive voice whispering in our ears, promising us immediate gratification. It's the chocolate cake when we're on a diet, the binge watch when we have a project due, the snooze button when we plan to exercise. Temptation is all about the here and now, the instant reward. But what about motivation? Motivation is the noble knight, the force driving us towards our long-term goals. It's the promise of a healthier body, the satisfaction of a job well done, the achievement of a dream. Motivation requires patience, persistence, and a vision of the future. It's a battle, folks, a constant tug-of-war between the instant gratification of temptation and the delayed satisfaction of motivation. Understanding motivation is like unlocking a secret superpower. Now let's delve into the science behind this superpower. At the heart of motivation lies a neurotransmitter called dopamine. This chemical is often associated with pleasure, but it's more about anticipation than the actual reward. When you're about to engage in an activity that has previously brought pleasure or reward, your brain releases dopamine, acting as a motivational salve. It's like a little cheerleader in your brain, urging you on towards that rewarding activity. Let's say you're an artist and you've just sold your first painting. That feeling of elation and success triggers a dopamine release. The next time you pick up a paintbrush, your brain remembers that reward and releases dopamine, motivating you to paint again, chasing that rewarding feeling. Remember that piece of cake you couldn't resist? Let's talk strategies to say no next time. It's a universal experience, that moment when you're just about to give in to a tempting offer. But what if I told you there's a way to resist that piece of cake, or whatever your particular temptation might be? The first strategy is visualization. This isn't just some new age mumbo-jumbo, it's grounded in science. Studies have shown that picturing yourself resisting temptation can significantly reduce the allure of that tempting object. So, next time you're faced with a tantalizing treat, instead of imagining the taste, picture yourself saying no and moving on. This brings us to our second strategy, distraction. The human brain can only focus on so much at once. So, if you're obsessing over a piece of cake, try shifting your attention to something else. Engage in a task that requires your full attention or dive into an interesting conversation. Before you know it, that cake will be out of sight, out of mind. The third strategy is to have a clear goal in mind. This is where the power of why comes into play. Knowing why you're resisting temptation, whether it's to stay healthy, save money, or achieve a personal goal, can provide the motivation you need to stay strong. A few years ago, I found myself constantly tempted by a daily latte at my favorite coffee shop. It was a small indulgence, but it was adding up. Using these strategies, I visualized saving money, distracted myself with a morning walk instead, and kept my goal of a healthier lifestyle in mind. Today, I'm proud to say I've cut that daily latte out of my routine. The final strategy is to practice self-compassion. We're all human, and sometimes we give in to temptation. Instead of beating yourself up, acknowledge the slip, learn from it, and move forward. Remember, every moment is a new opportunity to make a better choice. With the right strategies in place, temptation doesn't stand a chance. Ever thought about how your surroundings affect your ability to stay motivated? Let's dive into the fascinating world of science for a moment. Our fourth scientific point reveals a powerful truth. Our environment greatly impacts our behavior. It's like when you're trying to diet, but there's a box of donuts on the kitchen counter. The temptation is right there in your environment, making it all the more challenging to stick to your goals. But here's the good news. Just as our environment can lead us into temptation, it can also be modified to help us resist it. Yes, you heard right. We can design our own arenas of success. This is where the magic of supportive habits comes into play. You're not in this fight alone. Let's harness the power of social influence. Now let's talk about the fifth scientific point, the role of social influence in maintaining motivation and resisting temptation. Scientific studies have shown that our behaviors and attitudes are deeply influenced by those around us. When we surround ourselves with people who are driven, who are resilient, who are going after their goals with gusto, we tend to mirror those behaviors. Consider this analogy. You're a lone ember, glowing with determination. But when the winds of temptation blow, your light flickers, threatening to go out. Now, imagine being part of a roaring fire, a community of embers, each one igniting and supporting the other. The winds may blow, but the fire remains, burning bright and strong. That's the power of community, the power of social influence. Now, let's look to a timeless source of wisdom, the Bible, which gives us a clear direction on this matter. In the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verses 9 to 12, it says, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up." This scripture underscores the importance of community, of having people around us who can help us up when we stumble, who can keep us motivated when we're on the verge of succumbing to temptation. Remember, our social circles can either fuel our motivation or feed our temptations. So choose your circle wisely. Surround yourself with those who inspire you, who push you to be better, who won't let you give up. In the face of temptation, remember, we are stronger together. Strong enough to resist the allure of immediate gratification, strong enough to keep our eyes on the prize, and strong enough to keep pushing forward no matter what. Because together, we can do so much more than we can ever do alone. So, reach out, connect, and leverage the power of social influence to keep your motivation burning bright. In the face of temptation, remember, we are stronger together. Staying motivated isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Picture this. You're running a marathon. The route is long, the journey is tiring, and your legs are begging you to stop. But you don't. You keep going, one foot in front of the other. Why? Because you know that the finish line is there, waiting for you, even if you can't see it yet. That's what staying the course is all about. Perseverance and patience are the unsung heroes of any success story. Think of them as your invisible cheerleaders, always there, always encouraging you to keep going. Perseverance is that stubborn streak in you that refuses to give up, no matter how tough the going gets. It's that voice in your head that tells you, just one more step, you can do it. Patience, on the other hand, is like a wise old sage. It reminds you that Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will your dreams be. It teaches you to take things one day at a time, to savor the journey, and not just rush towards the destination. Now let's add a pinch of humor to the mix. Imagine perseverance as a stubborn mule, always plodding forward, never backing down. And patience? Well, patience is like a fine wine, getting better with time. The two of them together, they're like a comedy duo, keeping you entertained and motivated on your journey. Remember that it's okay to take breaks, it's okay to slow down. Even the most stubborn mule needs to rest, and even the finest wine needs time to mature. So take a breather, regroup, and then keep going. But most importantly, remember to celebrate your small victories. Each step you take, each hurdle you overcome is a victory in itself. So be your own cheerleader. Reward yourself, because you're doing great, you're staying the course. And when temptation comes knocking, remember this. It may be a constant companion. It may whisper sweet nothings in your ear, promising you easy shortcuts. But don't let it fool you. Temptation may be a constant companion, but remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. For those who've stayed with us, here's a bonus tip. Embrace the power of mindfulness. It's a simple yet profound strategy that can work wonders. When temptation strikes, instead of succumbing, take a moment to breathe. Absorb your surroundings, acknowledge your feelings, but don't act on them. Let them pass. This practice of mindfulness allows you to step back, giving you the power to choose your response rather than reacting impulsively. And there you have it, strategies to help you stay motivated when temptation comes knocking. If you found value in this, we'd love to hear from you. Your likes, subscriptions, and comments fuel our motivation to bring you more content like this. Remember, every step you take resisting temptation is a step towards success. Stay motivated, stay strong, and keep moving forward. Until next time.